The Last Jedi Review. So as we await the Christmas release of the final Disney sequel movie, I thought it would be appropriate to review The Last Jedi one last time. The day after seeing The Last Jedi, my co-workers asked what I thought of it. I told them that I thought it was okay. It answered a number of problems that I had with the first movie, The Force Awakens, and I especially liked the throne room scene. I was thrilled to see Rey and Kylo teaming up, the young people literally wiping out the old order. The team-up didn't last, and of course it seemed like poor storytelling to wipe out Supreme Leader Snoke in the second installment. I love watching Snoke chide Kylo for being an emotionally confused wannabe brat. Even killing his own father wasn't enough to please the dark side. So for me personally, I was the opposite of most reviewers in asserting that the first Force Awakens was worse than The Last Jedi. Why wasn't I emotionally devastated by what they did to Luke's character? A bitter old man who turned his back on everything worth fighting for. I envisioned some vast power struggle in the Republic that sent Luke to exile. Instead, he was a failed Jedi teacher who tried to murder his students. Not cool. But not a big deal for me either, because The Force Awakens had already ruined Star Wars for me. As I saw the light fade from Han Solo's eyes, his betrayal by his son, and his lasting love for his son, even in his death, I too felt like this was no longer my Star Wars. There was to be no recovery or hope in future installments. I only saw The Last Jedi because my family wanted to. Although it's easy to miss, I already listed all the things I liked about The Last Jedi. Rey and Kylo had good chemistry. They wiped out his idiot boss. The First Order proved they were total idiots, which had been telegraphed all the way through The Force Awakens. For example, how do you collect taxes from all of the planets you blow up? These clowns weren't going to run the galaxy anytime soon. At least the Galactic Empire had a working economic system. What bothered me about The Last Jedi were the occurrences of baffling dialogue. After failing in their laughable First Order Imperial officer disguises, Rose Tico and Finn are hauled out to the parade floor to be lectured by the nefarious villains. It reminds me of the scene from Spaceballs, where the victorious officer declares, "These are not them! You've captured their stunt doubles!" Anyway, Benicio del Toro's thief and weapons dealer is revealed to have turned the foolish resistance fighters in for a reward. Well, duh. Rose scowls at him and declares, "Traitor!" At this point, everyone in the room, all 1,000 stormtroopers, should have asked, "Traitor to what? What is she talking about? And who put her in that awful wig?" This was a prisoner in a jail on the casino planet. He wasn't even the person the Resistance was sent to hire. The notion that he could be a traitor would have required him to have, at some point, to sign up to join the heroic Resistance. He never did. I don't know if the intent was to subvert expectations by giving us a Han Solo who wasn't like Harrison Ford. But this came across as a fairly obvious double cross by Del Toro's character. Call it a single cross. Seems more like he was a good Samaritan turning in some troublemakers. Finn once again easily defeats Phasma. He informs her falling body that he is rebel scum. This phrase, familiar to Star Wars viewers, makes zero sense in terms of his character. Finn was not in Return of the Jedi. He never heard the Endor deflector shield officer refer to Captain Solo and his assault team with that memorable phrase. Furthermore, Finn forgets that in this new trilogy, there are no rebels. There's no Empire, no Imperial fleet either. There is the Resistance, Disney trademark, and the First Order, Disney trademark. So his final comment to Phasma should have been, "Resistance scum," or "resistive scum," for dramatic effect. As the dramatic music swells, we are shown Rey showing up after the battle to levitate a bunch of boulders with her untrained force ability. Those waiting at the back of the cave are suitably impressed. The Force is with us again, is the message. But why are the dozen resistance fighters so easily impressed? They live in a galaxy where a droid or two could have moved the same quantity of boulders in 2 minutes. No one should be impressed watching Rey do this. In fact, they should be surprised that the First Order didn't have a couple battle droids back there digging them out to haul them away to prison. Disney Star Wars writes Jedi powers as something that would impress everyone watching this. But in the original trilogy, Force power was just something practical to get the job done. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, people had a cornucopia of technologies that they simply took for granted, and it was no more impressive watching a Force user levitate than it was for Jabba to have a throne seemingly move backward at his mental command. Now, at the end of The Last Jedi, I think maybe a better story would have been to explain how the dark side of the Force was actually the ones supplying weapons to both sides. And if you had evil Sith users profiting off of the First Order and the Resistance, maybe you could have worked out a story there where these two factions need to stop killing so many people and let the galaxy live in peace without them. Maybe that old commerce guild from the Phantom Menace could be revived to run things without an empire or an alliance. Now wouldn't that be a great way to end the sequels, and would have actually tied into Luke and Kylo's stated credos in this movie to get rid of both sides and move on with everyone's lives. But then, I'm not a writer at Disney Star Wars. Thank you.